the most precious body, blood, in reparation for the outrages, sacrilege, and injustices for which he himself is.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
Things can sometimes be too close to be seen, said Judah Chesterton, the great author of English. Therefore, this afternoon we continue our reflection about a subject very close to us, but for this is difficult to see clearly. We reflect with the apostolate of a day with Mary. What is a day with Mary? Externally, it seems to be a day of Marian Eucharistic prayer, similar to many others in the Catholic Church throughout the world. But internally, what is the disposition, the intentions of men and women that with their hidden commitment are making possible the celebration of one day with Mary? Their ideal is to work looking for the highest perfection in the detail of the Marian apostolate, in an organized, structured, intensive way, for its highest efficacy and expression of supernatural love as humanly as possible, because it pertains to God's things. Their interior and exterior day with Mary is offered entirely to the Immaculate, for her to use it according to her intentions. They must always be aware that the day with Mary is a gift from God, with the Immaculate at its center, and Jesus, the Eucharist, and be always wary of temptation to exalt oneself or to get any attention for themselves. Is an apostolate of great humility, like Our Lady was the very humble queen and mother. All attention must always go to Jesus and Our Lady, the throne of the Most High. The inspiration to serve Our Lady in a Day with Mary apostolate is a gift from God that the soul needs to cultivate in one's own interior life and to express in the myriad of details of the exterior Day with Mary mosaic. The more intense is the interior love for Our Lady, the more beautiful and perfect will be the mystical beauty of the Immaculate represented in Day with Mary. What is the limit of this mystical beauty to strive to achieve? It is the limit of the beauty of God, one and triune, reflected in the most pure creature, that is his daughter, mother and spouse. The men and women involved in A Day with Mary, they answer to the calling of Our Lady on December 10th, 1925, as already announced earlier. It is an answer to his request, both of Jesus and Mary, not only personal and private, but common and public, to ensure that the maximum number of persons could know Mary's and Jesus' request and accomplish it for their salvation, for peace in the world, and for glory of God. The Day with Mary is like a great mosaic composed of many small parts, the tiles of the mosaic, which are the details of the Day with Mary, each one of varying form, material, color, shading, tonality, finishing, thickness, some square, others round, other triangular, others cut up and made to fit. Each and every one in their togetherness are essential for its realization, both practical and also spiritual. The tiles may be of various materials and finishes, of various sizes. Some last for millennia, resisting any weather, whilst other tiles wear out within a few years. The wholeness of these details are the members of the Day with Mary group and the perfection of labor and the love with which each part of the Day with Mary is put together, creates a supernatural composition, and such a composition which arises out of the wholeness of the tiles is the image of the Immaculate, of the glorious celestial Jerusalem, the image of the glorious triumphant Church. If just one tile was missing, or was not found at the right moment during the Day with Mary, the mosaic would forcibly remain incomplete. Should a tile be missing, for example, from the eyes of the face of the mosaic, however small may such a tile be, it would cause a visible disfigurement to the image reproduced, up to reducing it to a non-attractive and or non-inspiring. A mosaic deprived of even just one tile is there to be noticed first of all by God, than by men and women. From here derives the importance of the tales in producing a perfect and complete mosaic, an interior mosaic and an exterior mosaic, a mosaic that is not an ordinary work, but a masterpiece more unique than rare. For the members of David Mary group that live out this practice of perfect attention to these details, it means to arrive at the gift of supernatural love, full of zeal and promptness to do things to please God, asking God to bring to perfection within themselves the perfect love for the Immaculate, whom He loves perfectly. Such souls examine themselves to check their inevitable defects, to improve better and better their commitment. Such souls act with great attention and promptness when they were anxious for love of the Immaculate, in such a new maximum state of love, which is no longer guided by one's own love, but by God Himself, an interior state which is possible only by God's grace. All powers, strength, and faculties of the soul are detached from created things, and all its efforts and tension aim at the service of the Immaculate and in the Immaculate alone. This way, the soul leaves itself and all created things to go towards the sweet and pleasant union with God, in darkness and more security. Generally, few souls will reach in this life such perfection of love and enter directly into paradise. And many will complete their purification to arrive at a state of perfection and be able to enter in the union with God by way of purgatory. But to honor and serve Our Lady with the generosity in the apostolate and in great devotion life is the best manner to do purgatory in this world and enter directly in paradise. Nevertheless, someone could advance the objection as following. We don't have to honor and serve Our Lady in an exaggerated way, like a queen, because today we regard her as the servant. She isn't the queen, she is the servant, are saying someone. But we answer, while it is true that Our Lady proclaimed herself the handmaid of the Lord, it is also true that the kind of the service provided by the Virgin is a royal service. Our Lady is not only servant, but is also and above all Queen and Mother. This is not the time to ground Mary's queenship biblically and patristically. We need only think of the splendid Old Testament Marian prefigurations. The Queen Esther, for example, widely present in patristic literature and the liturgy, and of the truly solemn scene of the Magi adoring the King Messiah, carried in the arms of the Queen Mother, the Gebira, in the Gospel of Matthew. Even if one were to place the emphasis solely on the Mary's spiritual motherhood, without any consideration of her queenship, one would not be correct, because Mary is a queen mother who communicates to her offspring not only life, but also a royal lineage, the very character of Christ the King. Because our mother is a queen, we belong to her nobility. And because our mother is also Mother of God, we belong to the nobility of God Himself. This is the true dignity of a Christian and devotee to Our Lady. It is one thing to love our mother as a queen, and quite another to love our mother as a servant. Perhaps this second option might appeal to a certain type of unsavory person, still selfishly attached to a servile conception of woman and of one's own mother. But this does not correspond at all to the will of God, nor to the essence of a woman, nor to that of one's own mother, nor the Virgin Mary. The Mariologists of ordinariness again say, in opposite, when we emphasize the greatness and privileges of Our Lady, we elevate her so much that she is removed from the hearts of men and women. We then lower her, emphasizing that she has in common with our nature as servants, and so we will love her more. This is the objection, and we answer. While the reasoning, at least on the surface, holds, in practice the result is unsuccessful. There is a whole body of Mariological literature that presents Mary in a telenovela version. The result, however, is not to have increased love or devotion towards the Virgin, but rather the opposite. It involves her in the contempt for that grey and the mediocre reality that is the banal, when not sinful, ordinariness of the average citizen, from which all sensible people would like to escape. In reality, Our Lady's so-called privileges, from her immaculateness to her queenship, do not distance her from the hearts of her children, but bring her closer. Just as the poor are attracted to the wealth of benevolent and generous people, while they are at least indifferent to the rich like themselves, from whom they fear, if anything, being robbed of what they little possess, just a sick person is attracted by a good doctor in excellent health, while he keeps away from other sick people who might aggravate his condition by the contagion of other disease, so we are attracted by Our Lady's privileges, not for their own sake, but because they give us the measure of the powerful and merciful goodness of our Mother, of which we all have great need. in the face of a minimalist Mariology, then, is the Mariology of saints, of the saints, who have been very careful not to be critical, but faithful towards their fathers in the faith. Even if there was something to correct and overcome in them, the saints have always had the constant concern not to break continuity with the past tradition, but to develop in an harmonious and coherent sense. The example is given by St. Thomas and Blessed John Duns Scotus, who, while bringing original innovation in the theological and Mariological sphere, were always supremely respectful of the previous authority of the Father of the Church, and present their own theological vision, not in opposition to the tradition, but in perfect vital continuity with it. But about this more in the next sermon. Praise be to God, to Jesus and Mary.